Alrighty, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are here in the New York Bass Cave, obviously still in New York. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun here. If you guys have been following along the last couple of videos, it's been quite the adventure, quite the bite here in New York, as it usually is. Last video was our best day fishing so far in New York by far. Went out to Cayuga Lake, had a little something figured out from the time before. At least I knew where the fish would be, under the docks mainly. Last trip, the defining moment was actually reeling our jig back in, having a big one come smoke it. Decided to tie on a swim jig, and we were throwing that swim jig under the docks, swimming it through there, and oh my goodness, that was one heck of a bite. Got into the Cayuga Century Club officially, had like 101.75 inches for our best five, all on the swim jig, and just an absolute crazy day before a big storm rolled in. We had a big storm that night, so possibly one of the reasons those fish were munching like they were, especially the bigger class ones. But it is less than 24 hours later, as the weather has been pretty funky in New York. It is now a beautiful sunny day. It's still a little windy, but storm is gone. It's going to be close to 75, 80 degrees today. And I mean, come on, where do we go fishing? It has to be Cayuga, right? It has to be. I don't know how I could go anywhere else. And really, because I'd like to go explore a different part of the lake that has docks and see if we can replicate the pattern from last video. You know, and I always say this, every trip I come to New York, I say, oh, I'm going to branch out. I'm going to go drive an hour to somewhere I've never really fished in the Finger Lakes, maybe fish some new bodies of water, different places. All while Cayuga is basically in my backyard, 5 to 15 minutes away, depending on where I launch. And I say, well, I'm not going to mess with Cayuga. Dude, you have a day like that on Cayuga Lake. I don't know how I leave it. This is possibly me being kind of just like selfish in a way, as far as fishing where I want to versus content. And maybe that doesn't even matter to most of you. It probably actually doesn't. But for me personally, I want to go fish Cayuga. To mix it up just a little bit, I figured to start this video off, I'd give you a breakdown of the 8 rods I have rigged up right now for my day out on Cayuga. You know, it always changes. I don't think we're just going to go out there and throw a swim jig around docks and catch 100 inches. I think possibly that'll work, but I think there's going to have to be a little tweaking today. Conditions are way different. We're post-storm. So these are my 8 rods, or starting lineup, so to speak, for today's day out on Cayuga. How I'm going to tackle it. Start right here. No particular order, but I've got a buzz bait with a little Champ Swimmer trailer. You just never know. Gotta have this guy out there if they're real finicky. And we got some bites on this last time, but just a little drop shot. Got a flatworm on there, 3.6 inch flatworm in the Mango Magic color. I think this is just a good color for up north, where there's a lot of bright colored panfish and perch. That Mango Magic just really sparkles in this clear water. Got a popper. Got a popper. This is a little bluegill colored popper. You know, some of these docks that we're fishing, unlike docks in California, specifically Clear Lake, that the ends of those docks are like 15 to 20 foot. The ends of the docks at Cayuga are like 4 to 5 foot. Some are in like 3 foot. So that's why a lot of those fish are bedding at the very ends of those docks. It's a little protected area with some hard bottom, and throwing a topwater underneath there, specifically a popper, could be the ticket to get some big fish to bite. So we've got a popper there. Always got to have a wacky general. This is a 5-inch green pumpkin. Another bait in case they're a little finicky today that we could throw to get them to bite. But again, last trip, they weren't biting the finesse stuff. I mean, they were, but not the big ones. The big ones were actually more aggressive and more likely to bite the swim jig. And speaking of swim jig, that is definitely one of the baits we have today. This was our swim jig from last time, little 1/2 ounce Berkeley swim jig with a crud craw on the back. There is a few pieces of grass under these docks, depending, so we do have the little bobber stop to make it a little more weedless against those tag ends at the end of our knot. This is on 17-pound P-line tactical fluorocarbon. We had a couple of catches last time that rubbed us up against the docks, so we like that big fluorocarbon for the way we're fishing. Similar idea in theory as the popper, but we've got a frog. This will just be something I can skip under the docks a lot easier. And that is another thing about these fish under these docks. I mean, they're in hard to reach areas. These docks aren't just like wide open docks where you can skip anything under there. Some of them have some pretty interesting crossbars and dock posts. And some of these fish that spawn or live there are in those really tight areas. So you do have to make very precise casts, which is something I like. Not amazing at it, but I'm getting better at it. And skipping baits in those hard to get areas. And that's how you get bit. Speaking of a bait that is good to skip into those hard to reach areas, we've got a weedless cull shad right there. I think a really nice bait for skipping under docks. And you know, if they are still in like an aggressive chasing mood, then this could be another bait that plays. And last but certainly not least, kind of going with that theory, that theme of these aggressive bedding fish under docks, or really anywhere, but chasing bluegill panfish away, I just had to tie this on. We've got the gilly, a very realistic presentation of a bluegill, and more importantly, definitely, the action is extremely realistic. This is a 3/0 hook, and you'll notice we've got a little weight, little nail weight buried in the chin of this ghillie, so it stays true. It'll help it swim straight, and also will sink it down a little bit faster. So that's just like the realistic presentation deal for one of our baits today, and that is our starting 8 rods for today on Cayuga. Again, you just never know when you go out fishing which bait, which presentation is going to be what they want, and having 8 rods versus like 4 or 5 where I'd have to retie a lot, it just saves a lot of time. You know, you're at a dock, you want to throw 3 different baits. Well, I just grab the rod that I want to throw, and the thing is, sometimes when you do that, one of those baits will get bit, and then all of a sudden the bite, the pattern will just click. So that's why we have all 8 rods ready. Of course, we have other options in the box, but want to quickly give you a little run through of the kayak, the setup, because I don't think I've done that this trip, and you guys probably have seen this before, so I won't go into too much detail, but I'll give you just a quick little update here. This is what we're rocking in New York. Titan X 10.5, similar to the California setup, but actually a little bit more lightweight, less rigged out, so to speak. We have our front hatch here. Got a little bucket style hatch in the front that can be removed. There's wiring in there. Then we got the main hatch. Normally has a battery for where our graph would go, but I haven't needed to use the graph all trip. We're fishing super shallow. There's no need to use the graph, honestly. So just one less thing on the kayak. Our rods that we just showed you, obviously we don't keep them like that when we transport. Actually have my rod mule just kind of tethered right here to my black pack. They just live in the rod mule and travel with me on the kayak in the back of the old pickup truck. Got a little tool caddy right here, just some pliers, scissors, sunscreen, wacky tool, lure knocker in there. I use this just to throw some plastics that I'm seemingly favoring at the time. So last trip was a lot of the Cred Craws as trailers for the swim jigs. We do have the upgraded handle on this particular kayak. This is the Burley Pro handle with a Gomexus knob. Now let me jump over to the other side. So we've got the double header holding our paddle. We've got our throttle control. We are running an NK 180 on this guy. So the 180 will go on the back, though I have that stored in the truck right now. Do utilize the seat tray for this boat, and you can see pretty much what I keep in there. Terminal box, some extra baits, meat sticks, double buzz, I guess, just in case, you never know. We do have a little rocker panel right here. We do have interior and exterior lights in case we're going in low light hours. Of course, we need the battery to be in the kayak for those to work, but we do have that as an option. We've got our BioEno 24 volt 50 amp hour battery living right here behind us. Quick plug and play for that guy, as well as charging. I can just charge it right here with our charger when we finish up a day of fishing. So that's where our battery for our motor will be. Got a black pack in the back. This just has pretty much what you'd expect. We got 2 bags of plastics in here, 1 box of hard baits, some jigs, frogs, stuff like that. Got some waters, little pack of trail mix here. We've got our sunglasses. I've got 2 pair in here, 1 for bed fishing and 1 just for everything else. Extra line for leaders. We got the old fish grips in pink, apparently, that we can use in case we catch one of those toothy critters here, which I'm surprised we haven't yet. We have not caught a pickerel or a pike yet. That is maybe a first for the New York trip series. And then just a miscellaneous bag of, well, you can see what's in there. Miscellaneous stuff. And then really not much else to show. Of course, a mount for our motor. Brought our rear camera pole from California. This guy, man, this guy, he's got some history. This guy has been with me for a long time. One thing I did do is I actually put one of these guys on. Shout out to camera dude Tyler. He introduced me to these guys. These are actually for your laptop, where you can stick them on your laptop and they'll hold hard drives, SSDs, stuff like that. But I bought another one, put it on the side of the black pack, and this is where my power bank will sit throughout the day. Plug the power bank in, runs external power to the camera, so that runs all day. Yeah, guys, that is the quick tour of the kayak. Pretty simple, and that's kind of how I like it in New York, how I want it to be in New York. I want something very grab and go. I'm wheeling this, of course, to and from the ramp with the native sidekick wheels. It's no problem at all. It's a very light rig, but still offers a lot of stability, which is definitely something I like, especially if we get in some rougher waters. Yeah, that is pretty much it, guys. The rods, the baits, the setups. It is about 10 a.m. I think we're gonna drive to another part of the lake, like I said. That's the plan. Another day on Cayuga. See what happens. Alright guys, here we are on the water, just launched. Notice it's a lot dirtier water than last trip out. I mean, obviously, the storm, the rain, really got things churned up, so that's the newest curveball we're gonna have to face. But launched, I actually skipped a bunch of docks. Wind isn't terrible right now, but it has the potential to get a little breezy, that's for sure. Yeah, here we go. Let's see what these fish are doing today. Everybody better be careful. There's some pretty big bass lurking around these docks. Not sure if that would be the safest place for him to be. Or maybe these docks are safer, I don't know. Haven't had a bite yet. Oh, there's a couple of them. Shoot, that one was on the dock post. One out there. Maybe the snakes are spawning over here. It was a bite though. Probably a bluegill or a rock bass. Maybe a perch, I don't know. Like a fish. That was a fish. What the heck? Stealing my bait. Okay, good sign, good sign. That wasn't a big old bass, I know that. I know that. But a positive sign. Oh, it's gonna rain. There's a bass. Oh my god, that was Big Bertha. Oh, that one was a large one. Yikes. Well, I like that. That's cool. That fish like stopped me when I set the hook. Almost felt like I set the hook on a log. Goodness gracious. See? That's why we can't leave Cayuga, because that's what's biting right now. Oh my god, what was that? Oh. Whatever it is, don't eat my jig. Oh, dude. You know what's funny? There is a bass under there, I saw it. There is a bass under there. Maybe it was fish, carp? Oh, there's a few bass. There's a bunch of bass under there. Dude, it was all bass. Those were fish. That's neat. What I mean by having multiple rods at the ready to fish a dock or anywhere for that matter with different baits quickly. I might have spooked all those fish though. I don't know if they're gonna bite. Man, what a strange weather day. just like can't make up its mind. Well, we've got another row of docks over here. There weren't as many docks as I was hoping, so I think we'll fish this last little row. Looks like we've got about, I don't know, 9 or 10. And there's a little cove that I might fish, just check it out. Then after that, unless something happens, we might be heading back towards the ramp and maybe relaunching today or maybe another day. It's not exactly the stuff I was hoping to see today over here. Oop, that's right. Like I said, it's not the stuff I was hoping to see over here compared to the other side. It's definitely different, but that's why you explore, right? Learn a little bit more, test some stuff out. It's only 1 o'clock. Still got plenty of time to try to figure something out. I see a big bass right there. You son of a gun. I see a big old bass under the dock. Like a giant bass. Got her. She bit. She bit. How silly is that? Big one. Oh my god, she came off. It's a giant. Another giant. I've lost 2 giants today. Silly. Silliness. That was a huge fish. Just sloppy. Have I caught a bass yet? I don't think I have. What in the world? I think we'll change that soon. Definitely fish on these docks. I think these are just more finesse-y type fish. Little meatball. Here's one. Actually way bigger. A little better. Alrighty, folks. Well, that was much different than our last trip out on Cayuga, obviously. Got kicked off a little earlier than expected. That wind really picked up. Ended up coming on in, packing it up, but I am not calling it quits right now. What time is it? 2:30. Don't think, I'm not going to launch again today, but tomorrow morning I'm going to stick with this theme that we've got for at least this video, and I'm going to try another area of the lake tomorrow morning and see if we can put the pieces of the puzzle together and maybe, just maybe, replicate that jig pattern, because I mean, the deal is, and even the short time we were out there today, there's big fish up shallow. If we can find the right area, the right stretch, figure out how to get them to bite, it could be another insane day, and I'm just not ready to give up on that yet. I will say tomorrow's trip, which of course will be part of this video, will be our last time out on Cayuga, so I'm gonna have to brainstorm tonight what new area I want to go to, and yeah, I'll definitely pay attention to the weather, the wind, so we don't get kicked off early on. But guys, I am going to drive back home, and I will see you guys bright and early. Well, somewhat bright and early. I'll see you tomorrow morning. I'm just gonna get fishing. Why not? Why not? You don't need to make any long runs. There we go. No, it came off. What the heck? Oh man. All right, we got a dock bite. That's good. Man, this trip, this video, I'm sloppy. I can hook them, I just can't put them in the boat. I like these docks though. They got the right ingredients. Got a little grass around, some hard bottom underneath. So the only thing that has me slightly concerned, these are fish that are pretty easy pickings. We're right by the main boat ramp on Cayuga Lake, one of the few boat ramps on Cayuga Lake. So these fish could have been already jacked. We're just picking up scraps potentially, I don't know. Finally got one. My goodness, that took a while. See, these are the fish that are under the docks that I'm trying to catch. These giants. It's not even that big compared to the ones we're catching every day. But that's the quality we're looking for. Oh, I stuck them good too. You can tell they're on bed. Look at the tail. Just like all those fish from our Century Club day. And of course, as soon as I was thinking about leaving the dock deal, I get bit. However, we are running out of docks. There we go. I don't think there'd be any on this magical dock. Little guy. You guys remember this dock, the old magical dock? Not sure how much more magic it has, but it was magical one time for me. Changing things up a smidge. It's funny. Started this video showing you the starting 8 rods. I don't even know how many of those baits I have on still. Just changed a lot of stuff for the past day and a half, but that's why you bring it, right? If nothing's working or you're losing confidence in something, change over. There we go. Landed on one. Good one. Spinner bait. Just felt right. Yeah. Oh. Oh, he's mad, he's mad. He's upset. Ooh, that's an angry one. Thank you, sir. Berkeley Power Blade, a champ swimmer. Color is perfect for this slightly stained water. That one landed on it a couple of cranks after it hit the water, and she hit. Oh, that one came out and got it. Alright, little spinnerbait bite going on. I won't say no to that, even if they're smaller. Little one. Definitely little, not that little. And he came off. Shoot. Alright, spinnerbait. Well, offshore spinnerbaiting didn't really pan out as I was hoping, so let's go up shallow. Something we really haven't done too much of it, if at all, around the docks especially. I know there's some old pad fields around some of these docks, so let's go spinnerbaiting up shallow, see what that does. Oh gosh, well, kind of called that one a little early. It's about 1 o'clock, guys, and I'm sad. I am sad to say that that is our last trip out to Cayuga Lake for this 2025 NY Swing. Unless, of course, I come back later in the summer or the fall, which I'm not going to rule out. But for this one trip, last time out on Cayuga, and it ended up kind of being tough. I mean, you saw it last day and a half. Got on some fish, but that pattern that we really wanted to replicate from the trip before, fishing a jig around docks, just didn't really happen. Today we launched in an area that was pretty protected from the wind. The wind and kind of the lake getting all muddied up was where I based my launch location today. So we launched at the state park up on the northern end of the lake, which has a lot of docks by it. So I wasn't upset about that launch. Immediately got fishing as soon as we launched the kayak. I think I had one bite fishing the jig, the swim jig around docks. Missed it, fished a lot of docks and really didn't come up with anything. So I made my way to another row of docks. Really nothing going on. I was mixing in different baits too. I was throwing some finesse just in case we were missing some fish. I even threw the buzzbait up shallow, threw the frog a little bit. Eventually did get a couple of bites on the docks with the jig, but not the size we were looking for. And that's really the main reason we were fishing the jig around the docks, was because previously was the way to catch some monster bass. But for whatever reason, whether it was the area, the location, timing, that wasn't to be. So kind of scrapped that, mixed in some other baits. Did get on a little bit of a spinner bait bite, fishing around some dead lily pads and then some offshore grass. Caught one decent one doing that, a small one, lost another one. And then that offshore deal just didn't work out either. So I went shallow up by some more lily pads and didn't get bites other than small bluegill bites, perch bites. And by that time, kind of was running out of water. And that's when I decided to call it a day, call it quits on Cayuga Lake. But honestly, no complaints. I think we were out there a total of 4 days, I want to say, this entire trip. And 2 of them were pretty special. So I will certainly take it, and definitely grateful for a couple of really special days we had out there. I'm not going to beat that lake up anymore. We've got one more trip in New York. So we're going to go somewhere new, try somewhere new. Oh man, that's depressing. Wish we had more time here. It always just goes by so fast. It is what it is. We got to get back to California at some point. Yeah, guys, one more trip. I'd like to get on some smallmouth before we leave. I mean, it's just been too windy to really go looking for smallmouth or up shallow doing some sight fishing. So hopefully we can find a day before we leave that's a little more calm, a little less wind. Lake isn't completely dirtied up, and we can go looking for some brownies. If not, we'll go for the green ones. I have no problem with it. Anyways, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. Second to last series of this 2025 New York Swing. As always, I thank you for watching, for coming along, and I will catch you guys in the next and last New York Series video.